Ado and the album Zanmu. Yes, this is the beginning of my track by track listen through to every single song on the album. Obviously, I'm not going to be reacting to the ones that I have already reacted to, which is a couple of them. But I'm going to go through and I'm going to give you my thoughts on every single song and then my thoughts on the album. Now, as I usually do, if you've ever seen me do one of these before, when it comes to the track by track listen throughs to albums, I do basically take this first track as an opportunity to give you my thoughts leading into the album, basically why I'm doing it and what my preconceptions maybe are, what I hope to get out of it, just a little bit of that so you understand my perspective, and then I can try and give a fair review off the back of that. Now, in the case of Zanmu, all I know is it is the most recent album of... Wait, where did the video go? Oh, no, okay, that is the video. It starts grey. It starts weirdly greyed out. Okay. It's the last album, as far as I'm aware, of entirely Ado original material. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. I know she's got a lot of covers. I sometimes get a little bit confused because I go into some of her albums not being aware that it's like maybe it's a lot of Vocaloid covers or covers of things or Hatsune Miku related stuff. So all I'm aware of is this is the last full album of original material. So correct me if I'm wrong on any of those. Also, I'm kind of interested in this because I've had a bit of an interesting relationship with Ado's music up until this point. Now, obviously, as someone who's a big fan of the Japanese music scene, I work mostly with small upcoming artists, but I've always been a great believer that one of the things that makes Japanese music so great is it's not just the small upcoming bands. It's not just like, oh, I like indie music and pop music sucks. It's like, no, the popular music, like the top charting stuff in Japan, not always, but a lot of the time is really good. A lot of Ado's music I really enjoyed when she first came out. Things like Otto I loved that track right until McDonald's screwed it up. Did a whole video about that. But Otto is a great track. Obviously, we all know things like Usiwa. And then recently she's had a couple of songs that I've really liked as well. Things like Elf, Rockstar was pretty good as well. And, she's had some really good stuff. But there was this middle point where I think after that first album, and then there was the One Piece movie. She did a couple of songs for the One Piece movie that really took off. And then after that, there was things like Show. And I just remember listening to that song and it didn't work for me at all. Which is ironic because Show had, I believe, the same producers as Otto. So I've had a little bit, and it wasn't Ado's fault. I just felt like, the song just didn't work with her voice. Almost like, it almost felt like she'd just become this popular commodity and that, what had originally started as a project where they had these really cool ideas just became a case of, okay, throw Ado on anything. So that's a very vague, and I'm not really getting into it, but hopefully that'll give you an idea for where my mindset was until recently. And a lot of people have just sort of pointed out, well, Howard, you're picking up little songs here and there that have been in the public consciousness. Obviously, here in Japan, the sort of the music that gets popular and you hear is what you hear, probably more than really getting in depth and up close and personal with what the actual body of material is. So I was kind of saying, look, I really want to get into an album, listen to a full album. I've heard the debut album, I heard that all the way through. I want to hear the most recent album all the way through, and that's why we are here now. Now, looking at this playlist, my understanding is, I'm going to have to remind myself, looking at this, I haven't heard any of these songs up until Mirror. I remember Mirror, that came out a while ago. It was like 2 years ago. How old is this album? I'm going to have to check that as well. So Mirror, I did reaction when that came out. Value as well? I don't remember Value. Maybe that came up on one of my Twitch streams. I don't think I did a reaction to that. And then Zero, that is the one that I reacted to quite recently. That only got a music video come out quite recently. I did a reaction to that, and that's the one that kind of sparked this whole conversation about, hey, well, I wouldn't mind going back and doing a reaction to the whole album. And you guys said, yeah, we'd be interested to see it. So that's what I'm here to do. So hopefully this is interesting for you. It's definitely interesting for me. Hopefully that'll give you a little idea on my mindset going into this. I'm always open-minded on these things, but I'm also honest about the fact that this is why, as a joke on this channel, the hashtag no bias is the thing. Because as a reviewer, your job is to try and give an opinion that is as objective as possible, trying to reason out as possible the things you can, think about why you feel the way you do about certain things. But of course, anyone who's got any passion for anything has their biases, their things that they like and dislike more. So, and it's all just music after all. So I'm going to try and give you my fair opinion, and then you let me know what you think. But let's jump in straight away. This is how the album starts. This song is called Nukagara. I don't know what that means, Nukagara. Anyway, let's find out. It's 3 minutes and 8 seconds. It's a pretty brief song. So as usual, I'll do this, and then I'll try and keep these coming on a fairly regular basis, because this one, I'll try and do 2 of these a week. Try and get these out 2 a week. I usually record them in a batch, but I've got a lot of songs that I've got to react to and a lot of things going on here at the moment. If you've been following this channel, you know I've got a lot of things going on, visa stuff and all that kind of stuff. So I'll try and keep these fairly regular. I'll try and post 2 of these a week. There you go. All right, let's get in with this. This is Nukagara, the opening track from Zanmu. I'm interested. Let's see what happens. It's an interesting start. Oh, there's that funkiness. It's almost a bit Yoasobi with all the sounds going on around there. Nice little half-time break there. That's interesting. The beat feels kind of quite muted. Kind of just this more kind of gentle, kind of chaotic sound. For all the sounds that are happening, it's more smooth than punchy. Oh, that's nice. See, even this kind of like dubstep bit, it's kind of smooth. All the sounds are kind of nice and delicate and light. I love that sort of like, that saw bass line. Got a bit of a buzz to it. That's the signature Ado growl. That's a really interesting album opener. You know, a lot of the time when I do reactions, there's track by track albums, not track by track reactions, 2 albums. I'm not just thinking about the song, I'm thinking about how it fits in the album. Or like, so, okay, there you go. You got the songwriter. I got to be honest, there's a kanji in there. I have no idea. Okay. Lyrics by Gyu Niku. I don't know what to say about that. These lyrics have got beef. Anyway. Sadness. So, I got to be honest with you. This one was actually, you know, it's weird. As an album opener, I feel like this is a soft album opener. It's not, again, nothing about this song is punchy. It's kind of like it's easing you in. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just feel like it's very clear that they're setting up the tone for the album. You know, some albums, especially with singers like Ado, who've got like this big, powerful voice and tend to have like big arrangements and kind of lots of big, impressive things happening in their songs, you kind of expect an album opener which is going to be big and impressive. And you see like the adverts for her live shows. Never seen her live, I should point out. I know some people have, but I've never seen her live. And you see the adverts for her shows, and it's all about the big and the spectacle. For an album opener, this kind of feels like it's just sort of gently easing you in. You know, it starts pretty light, and then it adds a bit of beat. But one thing I noticed as well, as I mentioned a couple of times during the song, is that none of the production feels like it's kind of all got a little bit of a bounce to it, but nothing feels punchy. There's a certain way you edit certain sounds and you pick certain sounds where you can choose sounds that have a little bit of a hard edge that kind of really it's what you call the attack. It's like how quickly the sound goes from silence to bam, up. And certain sounds they kind of roll off. It's just like the teeniest fraction of a second, but just it kind of rolls off the edge, smoothly off the edges, make everything sound smooth. And this kind of all the sounds in this were like that. Nothing was like punching. It was all kind of just sort of smoothly bouncing along, but also the sounds were at the same time just about percussive enough to have a bit of rhythm. So this was from a production standpoint, this was a very interesting balance of both rhythmically interesting and lots of things going on in your ears, but nothing was really aggressively sharp or too too punchy. And again, punchy is often seen as a positive word, but when I say this is not too punchy, again, I mean that in a positive way, because that's clearly what it's going for, in my opinion, is something with a little bit of a sense of a little bit of space, a little bit of freedom. It feels interesting and involved, but at the same time kind of weirdly spaced out and relaxed, and that balance works well here. It feels like it eases you into the album, but it's not too light, it's not too kind of disposably thin. It actually has got a little bit of body to it. Ato's voice here again, very well used. I like the fact that she's got her voice here. She's not just immediately sort of like sing to 11 because that's what Ato's famous for. It's like, no, she uses quite a nice measured delivery here. That one big sort of Ato scream you get in the middle. But yeah, this was, I gotta be honest, I like this, but it also leaves me intrigued as an album opener. It's like, this is kind of an interesting statement. So yeah, we're going to start this album nice and smooth. It almost feels like it's kind of like a more of a traditional stage show vibe where it's warming you up for the act. I definitely found this to be very enjoyable in its own right. I wouldn't see it as being a single. It's not the sort of song that I would come back and listen to on repeat listen, but it is the sort of song where when you hear it, I think it sets a mood very well, which tends to be a thing for a lot of Ado songs. They set a very clear mood. Again, that kind of cinematic quality is perhaps at play in a lot of the things that she does. And yeah, it sets a good mood. I think it makes a good album opener. It's certainly one of those songs where if you put on the album, this is the first thing that came on, depending on what follows, I feel like this is definitely the sort of song that's a good mood setter for the beginning of an album. So I'm very interested to know what comes next. Very interested to see what comes next. And as always, this is the point where you guys get in the comments and tell me. Now, no big spoilers. Depending on, go check my channel and see if you're watching this a few days later and I've already posted my reactions to everything else. But I'm interested to know what you think of this. Was it a good album opener? What do you think of it as its own individual song? Get in the comments. Tell me. And until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.